5 must-know smokes on Inferno, 50 essential Mirage pop flashes. Learn these double nade stacks. You're throwing if you don't know these smokes. If you're just starting out in CS, you don't need to know any of this crap. Let me explain. I love watching grenade videos. I love being the guy in my team who knows a smoke for every given situation. Problem is, if you're a newer player, these situations don't come up in your games, or even if they do, your team isn't coordinated or knowledgeable enough to capitalize off them. And unless you have unlimited free time, the collective hours you might spend learning and committing all of these lineups to memory are actively taking away time you could be either actually playing the game or working on your mechanics. A big issue with newer players learning an excessive amount of util is that it grants you the illusion of progress. It makes you feel like you're improving at CS without actually having to play the game, which to be honest, sounds awesome, but it's not possible. And I get it, because I've been there myself pretty recently. It's way easier to just memorize a lineup than to like put in the raw hours necessary to just get better game sense, which is entirely intangible and unmeasurable. It's a way more immediately satisfying to be like, hey, I learned 5 different smokes today, then I played 3 games, got shit on in 2 of them, and it feels like somehow I'm getting worse, but I know that's not true. It's just not possible to linearly measure progress on this micro scale, and for the most part, I'm not actually going to notice myself getting better because it happens at a glacial pace. I just need to trust that it's happening, and I'm completely okay and at peace with that. So if you should stop spending your free time learning tons of lineups, what should you do? Well, mostly just play the game. If you're spending hours on this stuff, which I will expand to include excessive time watching any kind of videos about improving at CS, including the ones on this channel, you need to pick like 1 or 2 things max from the videos you watch that day to focus on, get the hell off YouTube, and actually play the game with an eye toward the particular skills you want to target. No amount of video watching and lineup learning is going to adequately prepare you or be a replacement for just dying over and over and over again. And it's also this dying, by the way, that's going to be the fastest way to learn what kind of util is actually important to learn. For example, maybe you like going banana on Inferno, but you keep getting owned by a guy peeking car, so you learn a simple Molotov to stop this from happening. Maybe you keep getting destroyed by the CT Opera in window on Mirage, so you either learn a window smoke or a top mid smoke to let you cross to boxes, from where you can safely and easily wing a bunch of util. These situations are just going to come up naturally, and it's a great way to start building out your utility repertoire. If you want something to practice and grind outside of the actual game, I'd like to recommend pre-fire scenarios. For those of you who are new to this channel, I've been getting coached by a top European player for the past couple months. I've actually learned a ton of great and practical util from these sessions that I use on a regular basis, but if I'm being honest, the one thing that has improved my gameplay more than any of this stuff was the importance my coach Phoenix has placed on learning how to properly clear and peek angles, and the practice I've done working on that area of my game. You may think you already have a decent handle on this, but if you're a newer player, I sincerely doubt it. Because if you did, you would be getting so many free kills every single round that you'd be winning games and ranking up rapidly. Listen to my coach explain.
I will not be far off if I would say that the whole T-side in any pack on any map is in 90% about clearing angles. Seriously, from my experience, this is the one biggest thing. If you just focus on that, on clearing every single angle, you don't need to know any utility, you don't need to know anything, like literally clear every angle, and you're gonna win most of those games.
Can you move around the map with intention and take decisive peeks with A and D only? Completely silently if necessary? Do you know the proper sequence to clear angles on every area of every map? If you're a newer player, you probably don't even realize how bad your mechanics are in this area. I had somewhat of an idea, but until I started getting my games reviewed, I didn't have the full picture. If you are a new CS player or a middling one like me, I'm pretty positive you have similar gaps in this core skill. I want to emphasize here that anybody can learn how to do this. It does not require sick aim, it does not require crazy reaction time. This is, for the most part, a knowledge-based ability that you can start working on right now. As of the publication of this video, pre-fire maps aren't yet available in the CS2 workshop, so I use Refrag, which costs money in exchange for polish and convenience. But you can always download the legacy version of CSGO, look up BiPrac maps in the workshop to do this for free. The angles are pretty much all the same. Also, if you want to see an actual expert going over how to clear angles on Mirage, check out this Phoenix video where he shows it way more cleanly than any of my B-roll. Link in the description. So here's a new rule I've given myself for learning util. I will learn a lineup or util set if it will directly enable me or my team to get kills or important map control on a regular basis. This actually covers a lot of stuff. It just cuts out all the extra nonsense. Huge bonus points if this util can be thrown on the fly. By the way, I came across this really great VOO video while doing research for this, which tackles the same subject from a slightly different angle. Please go watch it. Look, I'm not a great player, and I do feel kind of uncomfortable handing out CS advice to anyone, but this is something that I've seen come up with new players time and time again, and more importantly, I saw it within myself. At the end of the day, I'm not an expert, I am just an average guy that has recently spent a lot of time having my gameplay scrutinized by someone way better than me. And I want to share my findings with players around and below my level. I don't necessarily regret all the time I spent, for example, learning 10 different ways to smoke B Heaven on Overpass, but it wasn't exactly an efficient use of my time. And if I had taken all the time I spent learning superfluous lineups on either playing the actual game or at least working through pre-fire scenarios, instead of just resigning myself to being a quote-unquote support player due to my age and bad aim, I know I'd be a better player today. Also, support players need to shoot people too. It's not like you're playing Launch Day Mercy Overwatch.
Heroes never die.
Just please don't let a perceived lack of mechanical ability prevent you from working on the core skills of this game. All you're doing is kneecapping your potential. If you find joy in nerding out over util, please don't let this video stop you, but do not feel like you need to learn all this stuff. You don't. There's no amount of util you can learn that will prepare you for getting shot in the face. Just go play. Thanks for watching.